Hi everybody. Today I want to answer the most common question that I get. How do I set up my own workstation? Now whether you have a small shop space, your own garage, or even just a small shed, I'm going to show you my current setup as an example, show you the machines of choice, and that's more based off of the projects that I tend to get myself into, and I will show you some of the changes I plan to do. That way, some of you can base your own work ideas off of this or come up with something totally original. So to start off, we'll look at the workhorses of my collection. My welder of choice is this. This is my YesWelder YWM 211P. I've talked about this machine a couple times. I'm going to go over some of the details real quick. It is a multi-process welder that can do all the three common processes, as well as pulse mix, and that's really good for aluminum welding. It can run a 110 or 220 outlet. Right now I have my garage set up for 220 and I have a 25-foot extension cord on it. That way I can move this machine wherever I need it to. Now even on 110, it is capable of running 85 amps as a stick welder, which is more than enough to run a 332 7018 rod, which when prepared properly can easily weld 1/8 inch steel plate with one pass, or thicker with multiple passes. This versatility makes it a great option for someone that gets themselves into a little bit of everything. Exhaust parts, trailers, aluminum fabrication, and pretty much everything in between. A multi-process machine is a great thing to have, but it's not necessarily for everyone. They tend to be a little bit more expensive because they can do more things. Not everyone needs all of this. So if you're looking to start a workstation and maybe the only thing you do is stick welding, a simple stick converter such as a YesWelder Arc 205 DS will get you started for a low initial cost, and then you can work your way up as you go. Now next to my welder is my plasma cutter. This is a YesWelder Cut 55 DS. If you look around in my garage, there's one thing that I don't have here that most welders have, but I choose not to, and that's an oxy-fuel torch. Storing these high pressure cylinders is not something I care to worry about, especially with kids running around. This plasma cutter is actually less expensive, easier to use, and safer to store. No high pressure fuel gases around here, just an air compressor. Plus, oxy-fuel torches are only really effective at cutting thicker steels, whereas a plasma cutter can cut sheet metal as well as stainless steel and aluminum with the proper techniques. This is my Metabo HPT pancake compressor. It is capable of 4 CFM at 90 PSI, which is exactly what I need for the plasma cutter. I shopped long and hard for the right compressor for what I need and ended up finding this. It's definitely small enough to be portable, so I can take it with me if I need to, but powerful enough to keep up with the plasma cutter at full blast. Now I decided to put the water separator here directly on the compressor just for simplicity. Now a lot of people get these fancy weld carts to do these amazing builds on some of these weld carts that they have, and I just went with a simpler approach. This is a tool cart from Home Depot. Pretty basic. It has enough room up top to put my 2 welding machines, welding leads, and a couple parts that I'm working on at the time. And I've got all these drawers for all my welding related equipment. So in the top drawer, I've got my famous junk drawer. A drawer that every welder should have. It's just got miscellaneous stuff that really doesn't have a place. Second drawer is my welding leads and machine related stuff. A lot of things I use often, such as my porcelain take cup there. And a couple files, wire brushes. So that's basically it. Third drawer I have some basic tools. These are my clamps, some drill bits, a rivet gun, and my drill, along with a hammer. This drawer is all my grinding and sanding equipment. So I got a couple grinders in here, my die grinder, palm sander, and then a couple spare wheels. And then a hair dryer for when I do any painting or coating or anything like that, which is rare, but it helps. And then the last drawer is my parts drawer. This is usually where I keep some of my spare parts. I do more things than just welding. I also do mountain biking, I do some car stuff, not a whole lot. And then I have 2 pipe wrenches. This is actually something, this is an 18-inch steel pipe wrench. And then this is one of the most useful tools that I've ever had working on rusty stuff in the Northeast. This is a 10-inch pipe wrench. Considered pretty small. Really good for getting off rusty bolts and studs and stuff like that. I first started with this thing, which is a piece of 3/8-inch plate with some steel pipe for legs that was about 5 feet long, and it was roughly 20 to 22 inches wide to fit in a very specific spot in my garage. It has this Wilton vise welded to it. Then I made this gigantic thing. This is made from a piece of 3/4-inch plate that I salvaged. So I had 2 benches for a little bit, and then I decided to weld these 2 benches together to make 1 bench. Now I am in the process of adding my whiteboard to the back here so I can take some notes while I'm doing things. And I'm also going to add wheels to this thing so I can cart this thing around the garage as well. Now what I put under this thing is basically a giant dry box. It is not watertight, but it keeps all the dust and everything out, which is really good for storing your welding rods and filler rods. So let's open this thing up. So in here, I keep basically everything in here that I don't want any dust or metal particles or anything getting in it. And most of that is, I have a lot of welding rods here, all different types. Some wire spools. My bandsaw actually fits in here quite nice. I also have some TIG filler rods sitting back there. And then what I also have, out there is my aluminum spool gun. I also have a spare regulator, my foot pedal for my TIG torch, a couple TIG torch cups that I didn't have anywhere else to put them. Now another thing that I keep is this little to-go toolbox for when I have to take my machine with me. It's got a stay clean, but it's got all my tips and rollers that I need. Got all the tips and rollers, some TIG cups, that, some tungsten, a couple small clamps and stuff. Just kind of like a to-go box for a water machine, plasma cutter. If I can take it with, I can just grab this thing and go. Yes, I made this box out of a steel bed cover for a service truck. They were throwing it away. I asked if I could take it, and they said, you can do whatever you want with it. So I made a toolbox. I keep a lot of my hand tools in this little red toolbox thing. This isn't all of my hand tools. As a matter of fact, I keep the majority of my hand tools in this mobile tool cart here. Because a lot of times I take this stuff mobile with me. And I also have basic tools. I don't have any specialty stuff unless it comes to it. The only stuff that I really have is welding tools and basic hand tools. I don't have anything else like that. But in my top box is, again, kind of stuff that doesn't have a home. This stuff doesn't always stay here, and it's a lot of consumable related equipment stuff, as well as a framing square, tire plug tools. First box, this is my specialty stuff. So like I said, I'm not just a welder, I also do a lot of mountain biking and stuff, so I have some specialty Allen keys, caliper, chainring tools, crank pullers, and some interesting stuff like that. Second box is a couple wrenches, nothing too fancy. I've actually got to go through some of this stuff. These are sockets, obviously. And then I keep all my pliers and stuff down the bottom of it. Now this is my latest addition to my tools. This is a Sears 1 horsepower drill press as a floor model. So I've got all this travel from the floor up to put fixtures in to drill them out. I got this thing for basically free because it It wasn't working properly. Did some work to the motor, put new pulleys on it, and it runs like a top. So sometimes it's better to search Facebook Marketplace and OfferUp and some of those other online stores where you can get really inexpensive, good quality tools and just put a little bit of elbow grease into them to get them running properly. Now, along with making my bench, I made this thing. This is my chair. It's a chair that I use for when I'm TIG welding in that vise or doing any sort of welding that, I need to get comfortable. Now, they're nice because I can recline them, I can put the arms down, and I'm working on creating an air system to where this thing can go up and down. Here's my little gas bottle cart here. I need to add wheels to it yet. I also have YesWelder's dual regulator on here. That way I can purge out any exhaust tubing or other tubing that I get myself into. Now, what I also have is these two saws right here. This saw I use for cutting steels and stainless steel, and this is the saw I cut for aluminum. This is just a standard friction blade chop saw that you can get just about anywhere. And this is a standard miter saw that you can get from just about anywhere. What makes this thing unique is that this blade is capable of cutting not only hardwoods and nail embedded woods, but it can also cut aluminum. Now, I use this blade for cutting aluminum only. Any cross-contamination of other materials can cause some problems with the welding. So this is an aluminum only saw. Blade's not expensive, about $50 you can get them at Home Depot. And I welded both of these on a stand so that way I can move them around and they're by themselves. Well, there you have it. That is my garage setup. As you can tell, I don't have all that much and it's not really necessary. You don't need a lot. All you need is a good place to work, a good welder, and some know-how. Thank you very much for watching this video. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, leave down comments for questions. We try to answer them as best as we can, and I'll see you later.